Hello and welcome to Principles of Management, Chapter 1, Management. In this chapter, the learning outcomes include describe what management is, explain the four functions of management, describe different kinds of managers, explain the major roles and sub-roles that managers perform in their jobs, explain what companies look for in managers, discuss the topic discuss the top mistakes that managers make in their jobs, describe the transition that employees go through when they are promoted to management, and explain how and why companies can create competitive advantage through people. So when you read the chapter, do the exercises, do the quiz and the assignments, then you should be able to answer all 8 of these. I don't have time at this point because I'm limited to less than 15 minutes and because you probably won't watch it all anyway, um, to go through all 26 of the slides. I'll go through as many as I can in the next 13 minutes. And then you're welcome. They're available to you to go through the rest. But in the end, you're responsible for being able to answer and know these 8 learning outcomes for this chapter and every chapter. The format's going to be the same for every chapter. Okay? So, management, getting work done through others. Concerns include efficiency, getting work done with minimum effort, expense, or waste, and effectiveness, accomplishing tasks that fulfill organizational objectives. Key to organization success. Okay, so you can be efficient and not effective. You can efficiently cook a hamburger at 2,000 degrees. It's going to be an awful hamburger. No one's going to be able to eat it, but it was efficient the way you did it. Okay, you can be effective and waste a lot of money, time, and effort. Okay, so you can be effective at let's say making your bed. But you might make it in such a way that it takes 30 minutes to do so, and you've just wasted, 28 minutes when it could have taken 2 minutes. It may be perfect, but the actual outcome doesn't warrant the amount of time you spent making your bed. Okay, so you need both of those together to have a successful organization. Just like when you're studying, you may be efficient and go through all the flashcards really fast, but you may not understand any of it. You may have just memorized it, and so as long as it's worded exactly the way you memorized it, it's fine. But when there's an application question, which I love application questions on exams, then you may not be able to answer it because you just memorized the definition. So you were efficient because you went through all the key terms and ideas for every chapter, and you got it memorized, but it wasn't effective because you can't actually apply what you were learning. Okay, you can be effective and learn it inside and out and read lots of books in addition to the textbook, but you didn't get time to do all that you needed to do, so you only know about 70% of it when the test comes around. So even if you're perfect, you only get a 70%. So because you weren't efficient, you didn't get it done in the time that was required. So you only got a 70, or the lowest C that you could get. So you need both of these to be successful. Okay. So planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. These are the functions of management. These have been the functions of management for a century. Okay, so if you go on a job interview, they'll say, "What's a manager do?" You can say, "A manager plans, organizes, leads, and controls." Those are the 4 functions of management. What does that mean? Planning, determining organizational goals, and a means for achieving them. Okay, so it could be something as simple. When I was in retail, it was something as simple as I looked at the schedule and saw what employees were coming in on the next shift, and then I looked at the to-do lists things we had to get done for that day, and then I matched each of the tasks with the person that I thought was best suited for that task, and I wrote it down. And then when they came in, I then gave them their instructions of what they were to do on their shift. So that was planning and organizing, right? I decided what decisions to be made, who will do what jobs and tasks, and who will work for whom in a company. So I went through and did that in that simple example after I determined what we needed to do and how to get it done. Leading, then, I went around and made sure everyone was doing what they were supposed to do throughout the shift, and we never had enough employees to actually get all the work done. So whatever was not being done, whenever I thought it was the people that were coming in weren't either able to do, or I could do it more effectively and they could do something else better than me, then I would have them do what they're the best at, and then whatever was left over is what I would end up doing. But they would see me out there on the floor, on the retail floor, doing work just as they were doing work to get the job done. So that would be leading by example. Okay. Also observing, making sure they're not on their phone all the time, making sure they're not talking to friends that happen to come in, and that kind of thing. And then controlling, monitoring the progress. If someone's a little bit slow and you can see that they're not going to get done, go over and ask them if they can have help, or if they need more assistance, or don't they have the right tools, or what seems to be the problem as far as trying to get the task done by the end of the shift, or what have you. Again, I'm being very simplistic in my example that I had. It can be extremely detail oriented and complicated, all the way to the simple example I'm giving. Okay, so types of managers. You have the top managers, that's the CEO, president, vice presidents. Middle managers, those are the zone managers, regional managers. All depends on the company and the titles that they give them. Then you have the frontline managers. So if it's a plant where they produce things, then that would be your plant manager, assistant manager, could even be department managers. And then the frontline manager are the people that actually deal directly with the team leaders or the employees themselves, if you don't have team leaders. And then if you're large enough that you have team leaders, then those team leaders are the ones that go directly to the hourly employees. Okay. And then I went through all that already. Okay. Responsibilities of middle managers. Much of this has been replaced with computers. So a lot of companies have what they call flattened out, or downsized, or right-sized, or whatever term they want to use, and have gotten rid of most of the middle management because they found that computer systems can do all this. So if it's a company that's trying to modernize and cut expenses, then you might find that you have very few, if any, middle managers. Okay, and there's your frontline managers. So management's role is figurehead, leader, and liaison. Let's go down to here to this chart. Management skill, technical skills, human skills, conceptual skills, motivation to manage. Okay, so obviously the technical skills would be more for the team leaders and the frontline managers, because they're right at the touch point of the product or the customer, and so they have to have the working knowledge to be able to do it. And then human skills, that's all the way across. That's everybody. Everyone has to have human skills if you're going to manage people. Conceptual skills, the top managers and the middle managers have to have the conceptual skills more than the other two, because they have to be able to see the big picture. And then lastly, motivation. Obviously, top managers have to motivate the middle managers to motivate the rest, frontline and team leaders and so forth. Okay. Top 10 mistakes managers make. Insensitive to others. Number 1. Okay, bullying, intimidating, abrasive, You know, if you like getting a paycheck, do what you're told and don't complain. You know, that's very insensitive to others. That's very bullying. That's what we call Theory X, which we'll get into in a little bit. So that's very demotivating, I should say. Cold, aloof, arrogant, betrays trust. You know, you tell your team leader something in confidence, and the team leader goes and tells everybody else. So that's the last time you'll ever talk to that team leader about anything important, and so on. Stages in the transition to management. This would be from your entry level position into management. Manager's initial expectations to be the boss, the formal authority, manage the task. Job is not managing people. After 6 months, initial expectations were wrong, fast pace, heavy workload, job as a problem solver and troubleshooter for subordinates. And then after a year, no longer a doer, communicate, listen, positive reinforcement, learning to adapt to and control stress. Job is people development. Right? That's the whole point of the manager, is to develop your people. Okay. Here. So competitive advantage through people helps develop workforce that are smarter, better trained, more motivated, and more committed than those of the competitors. Produce substantial advantages in sales revenue, profits, stock market returns, and customer satisfaction. In our knowledge-based society, it's really the people that are your competitive advantage. So if you have recruiters that have been there forever, say if you're a university, and you have recruiters that have been there for a long time, they have great connections throughout all the high schools in their area. Excuse me. And so you're getting lots and lots of students every year from those areas because the recruiters just know how to go in and really inspire high school students to want to go to your university, and they're able to have that opportunity because of the relationship they created with the principal and the superintendent and the career counselors, as opposed to a university that has high turnover, that has new recruiter every year or every other year, and they never have time to create this relationship and build it and build the network. Whether it's a university or whether it's a company and this is their salespeople or what have you, I mean, that's your competitive advantage. If you're an attorney at a law firm, you go out and you get your clients. No one gives you clients. So your network to actually build clientele is how you make money as an attorney. You're an entrepreneur as well as an attorney. Same can be said for a doctor or a dentist. You have to go out and get your patients. No one's going to get them for you. Okay, so you have to actually have that as your advantage, and your people will either keep your patients or lose them if they're abrasive or rude or any of the other things, and then all the work you did to get those patients was wasted because your employees didn't treat your patients the way you wanted them to. Okay? And that looks like the end of this chapter 1. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.